Hello everyone, I'm Ellen Nielsen, the General Manager of Probot Burns, and I'm happy to introduce you to our new Px120 roaster. Probot Burns, or PBI as we like to call it, is a member of the Probot family. We're located in Lincolnshire, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. We just moved to this beautiful 110,000 square foot facility where we will fabricate coffee roasters and ancillary plant equipment. We've put together a highly skilled team to design and build roasters here in North America and deliver them to our customers. Today, we're specifically talking about our new Px120 roaster, which was originally designed by Probat USA in Germany and is now completely built in our shop. We build this roaster from the ground up with nearly all American-made parts. I'm pleased to introduce you to the three people who have helped make this possible. Lauren Thornhill, our lead mechanical engineer for the Px120 roaster, has been drinking coffee ever since she can remember. She's been with us for about 4 years now. Bob Miller, our Vice President of Controls, has over 20 years of experience in industrial automation. He's a fan of technology and is always looking for ways to improve quality, performance, and ease of use. And Scott Stouffer, our Vice President of Sales. He is a coffee connoisseur who I'm sure has had the pleasure of speaking with most of you tuned in today. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Lauren, who is out on the shop floor with the roaster now.
Thanks, Ellen, for that introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren. Welcome to Probat. Here's the Px120 roaster. Let's get started and let's take a journey through all the new features and designs. So if you'll follow me right over here, we're going to start with how the drum was redesigned. So we have a nice new drum and a new charge funnel right here. That was redesigned to have better airflow throughout the roasting system. So throughout the whole thing, we're going to kind of go through how the green beans are traveling through the drum and through the roaster and the system, kind of how the hot air is going through the system. So if we come back here, we're going to start with our new low NOx burner. So this will be energy efficient and will cut down your emissions. So great for the environment, also great for your energy bill. So we're going to come through here. Hot air is now traveling down below and coming through the drum here. So at this point, the beans have come down from the charge hopper and are tumbling in the drum. So hot air is moving through them, out through the charge funnel here, and out through the aroma pipe. So we're going to end right here, and if you follow me on over to the poster board, so we just ended here. Now we're going to travel through the cyclone and down through the hot ductwork, and now we have the option to either go out to a thermal oxidizer, a catalytic oxidizer, or an RTO. Maybe you have a lot of systems, you want to put them all to an RTO. Now from here we have the option to partially recirculate the hot air. You'll see it comes back down through here, through the oven, back around again. So with a partially recirculating system, we can now save on energy. I think we said about like 30%. So I'll save on your energy bill as well, and you can also run a thermal clean if you would want to. Now, with the hot ductwork system, it's also an SIL2 rated system, so that means it's safety integrity level of 2. So the whole system's nice and safe. We have double checks for like our thermocouples, the system's temperature is right and the pressure is right, so everything is nice and safe for the roaster and for the machine. So we're going to leave off right here and jump back on over to the roaster. So now we're coming back in here, we're recirculating back through the roaster. Now you'll see our motor here. All the motors on the Px120 system have a VFD on them. So what does VFD mean? That means the system is on a variable frequency drive. So we can slowly ramp up the drum and we can slow it down. So that'll be great for the system, and it's not like a harsh start-stop, that type of thing. So we'll hop over to the cooling tray later and talk about that motor, but right now we're going to look at our water train. So this is where we can run the quench for the roast, and if there's any emergencies, we're going to hop on over here, and here we can quench the roaster, we can quench the cooling tray. Nice and safe system. Now, you'll notice with the whole roaster, all the devices and stuff are tucked away behind these panels. So we don't really have any eyesores as we're roasting. We're just focusing on the roasting process. So I'm going to take this panel off real quick. So behind here, we have an easy maintenance of the roaster. So you'll see we have an access hatch so we can get down below it and we can clean anything out we need to, check that there's no issues, anything we'd have to do there. You'll also notice while we're down here that the whole inner housing is insulated. So that keeps all your hot air within the system and keeps the environment around it nice and comfortable for the roaster or anyone else who's in the area. So I'm going to throw this back here real quick. And then we're going to come on over this way. So this is our new cooling tray. You'll see the quench ring is up here. We have a manual discharge and an access hatch to get down to the motor below. So like I said back there, this motor is also on a variable frequency drive. So we can, with that, we can run the, we can cool the beans intermittently. So what that means is we can slow down the cooling tray and let the air just run through the beans, and then we can ramp it back up and slowly mix the beans. So this also helps with breakage. So we're not really breaking the beans as we rotate and cool the beans. So from the roaster, we're roasting, discharge to the cooling tray, and now we're going to discharge to our new destoner boot over here. So the beans will come out here and they will get sucked away to our destoner hopper. Now, destoning, it's just like the word, so we're destoning the coffee. So all the stones or like leftover friends of the coffee beans are going to come right out here and we can clean that out easily. From here, it'll go onto your destoner hopper and onto your packaging line or however you want to transport your roasted beans after that. Now, if you need help designing any of that, we'd be happy to help you. Just give us a call. So we talked about the machine and everything, so we're going to come on over to the biggest new feature of the Px120, which is the controls. So Mr. Bob Miller will go over that with you, and I'm sure he's pretty excited to tell you all about the new features and how you can access the machine and all that. So thanks everyone, see you later.
Hello, I'm Robert Miller, Vice President of Controls for Probot Inc. Today I'd like to go over the new control system for the brand new Px120. It's a complete departure from what you may have been used to in the past. It is now all 100% web-based. So as you see, you can start out and we come up to the roaster screen and we have the main overview that gives you all the information you could want to know about that roaster. Over on the left-hand side, you see the roasts that have happened and the coming roasts and recipes. Obviously, you can see the temperature curve, so you can follow that. You can see during the roast when different parts of the process will happen. This also allows you to set different times when the first quench happens, as well as first and second crack. Very detailed information. You can also go in and monitor the curve profile, so you can see the live curve and where it's falling into the parameters. See the rate of rise, the total roasting time, so you see all the information you need for a successful roast. In addition, you can go in and see the different stages of the machine, the status of each one of the sections of the machine, be it the feed hopper, the roasting bin, the cooling bin, and the roasted coffee bin. You can go in and see a little bit more detail about the roast process and all of the different information as far as valve percentages, pressures, status of different gates. Right on the screen, simple with a one touch to see what's going on. You can also go in to your recipes and you see the different recipes, the curve profile that is associated with that recipe, create new recipes, edit existing recipes, and monitor what's happening. Another new feature of Pilot 2020 is the ability to have messages. So the operator can enter messages when different things have happened. If he gets an alarm or something is out of tolerance, he can leave a note as to what he's done to resolve that issue. Or if an alarm happens, you can have notes that explain to your operator what to do in case of that alarm. You may also notice there's a secondary tab up here for our roaster 2. At this one screen, I can monitor any roaster that is running our new Pilot 2020 software. So from the control room, you can have one PC monitoring multiple roasters at one time with access to all of them, depending on your login, of course. In addition, because I mentioned it was HTML based, it will also be able to use your tablets. So now your maintenance personnel and different people can walk around the roaster with a tablet and see this information live as it happens, which will greatly reduce troubleshooting time and startup and commissioning time while we're out commissioning this machine. The main dashboard shows you just the general overview of the current system and the recipe that you're roasting. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Scott Stouffer. I am the Vice President of Sales for Probot Inc. I cover the areas of the United States and Canada. And I want to thank Bob and Lauren for introducing us to the technical features of the Px120. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why the Px120 was developed. Over the past 5 years, we've heard from our customers the things that are important to you for coffee roasters. They have to be delivered quickly. They have to be a fair price. We have to have service, both remote and local, available. And we have to, most importantly, deliver a lasting quality product that stands behind the name Probot. We have heard you loud and clear. We've taken those objectives into consideration and developed the Px120. And I want to start by just walking back a few years to an example of how we did this here in North America. A few years ago, we introduced the P Series 2 line, or the Probotone Series 2 line of 5, 12, and 25 kilo roasters. And those were built the same way. We took the global design and made it manufactured with US supplied parts from global suppliers for a quick lead time and quality production here in North America. And that's our 5, 12, and 25 kilo P/2 design. And that had us done a couple of things. It allowed us to roll out these roasters very fast. It got US technicians trained in how to build and assemble these pieces of equipment and service them. And it got these roasters to our customers in a fast time. We can typically get these roasters out in 2 weeks or less. And we've done exactly the same thing for the Px120. As you saw with Lauren and Bob's discussions, those parts and those engineering designs have been done locally here in Chicago area. We're assembling this, and we will have these available for a fast lead time. This has also allowed us to have service technicians and assemblers like Mark and John trained on how to put these roasters together, and controls engineers like Bob available to program these roasters. And they're the ones that are available to provide remote support for you and travel to your facility if necessary. Assembling on a global scale locally also enables us to keep our price competitive. So what are the benefits to you? You can have a roaster delivered on a short time period. You have a roaster assembled here in North America in a shop where we maintain spare parts for all of the roasters we build. You have local service technicians available to support you remotely or on site. And that roaster can be delivered at a competitive price. The base price for this roaster is the same price as the previous model that we built. And it comes with so many more features. It comes with that enhanced safety features, the enhanced access for maintenance, the enhanced instrumentation, and those easy to use controls. It also comes with a lot of available options for upgrades, as you heard. Options that help you reduce energy consumptions, options that make it lower in emissions. We would be happy to talk to you more about these machines. Just let us know, give us a call, or send us an email. I'm going to conclude with a personal story. All my life, just like you, I've driven cars. I've roasted on a whole bunch of machines. I've driven a whole bunch of cars. I've driven Fords and Volkswagens, all types of rental cars. But I had an opportunity a few years, just last year, to buy a car that was pretty special. It's a newer model car. It wasn't new, but it was a newer model car with a lot of features that I never dreamed that I would ever have. It is such a magnificent car to drive. It's such a magnificent car to drive that I actually fight my wife every morning for the keys to drive it because she wants it during every day. I bring this up because this roaster is analogous. It has features. It has ease of use. It has cleanability and service options that are awesome. This is going to be a machine like you've never roasted on before. It's going to make every machine that you've previously roasted on seem like that old car that still sits in my driveway, the one that nobody wants to drive, but it's great for my 16-year-old daughter. Perfect. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk to you about this roaster or any of the other roasters in our fleet. And right now we're going to turn it over to questions and answers. Thanks. Hi again. So before we get to questions and answers, we're going to take just a short break to watch a video that was sent to us from the site of the first Px120 installation. We're excited to have this short video from Lavazza in Turin, Italy, to show us how the roaster looks when it's installed.
Hello, I'm Michele Gaggiati, line director of 1895 Coffee Designer by Lavazza Factory. We selected the new Px120 Drum Roaster for the new 1895 factory because we believe that the Probot have managed to inject a new high level of technology into the classic design. The same approach we adopted in the new experiential factory, where craft and high technology stay together every day to create excellence of our 1895 coffee. Excellence that we are able to deliver and guarantee thanks also to the technological optimization of the roaster. Our roaster embodies all manual skill and experience of 1895 master roaster. In these spaces, every choice is crucial for bringing out good aromatic notes in our coffee. It's able to exploit the thermal energy that is transferred by both interaction through contact between the beans and the drum, and by connection to the flow of both air, enable us to have tighter control over all the parameters of the roasting profile. Another key aspect for 1895 is the Px120 sustainable approach. This futuristic new energy efficiency system can deliver considerable reduction in energy consumption and guarantee the reduction of emission by up to 30%. High technology and commitment to sustainability in the pursuit of excellence were the key factor in our choice of Probat and their Px120 as partners in the important and innovative project. Top quality level of product and cutting-edge ideas are the driver of both 1895 and Probat that realize also to the Px120.
So Bob, Lauren, and I have moved into our training lab here in our facility in Lincolnshire, and we are prepared to answer some questions that some of you may have. You can still send in some questions through our Facebook Live page. We have also gathered a few questions already that we're prepared to start with. And I'm just going to read, Shauna has been working behind the scenes and has listed these questions out for us. I'm going to read off the questions, and Bob and Lauren and I are going to answer them. Okay, so the first one, Bob, is for you. And Jennifer has asked, the controls look very different from our current roasters. Will our operators need to relearn how to roast?
That's a great question, Jennifer. Actually, while the software is new and updated and has a new look and feel, the overall process is still very similar to the old process. So the operators should be able to get up to speed with the new software, within the first day of us doing commissioning
Awesome.
tests.
Great. Okay, so our next question's from Matthew. He wants to visit the next time he's in Chicago, and he wants to know what our protocol is. We would love to have you visit. Like most places, we are dealing with this pandemic. You got to bring your mask, you got to have your temperature checked, and make sure that we schedule you for a time when we can appropriately host you and be socially distant. So Lauren and Bob and I are trying to be socially distant here today, and as is everybody in our office. So we'd love to have you. Just get in touch with us and we'll make it happen. So another one for you, Bob. Juan has asked if the software will work with a MacBook or does it only work with Windows?
Another great question. So the software itself will only run on Windows. However, because it's HTML5 compliant, you can use a MacBook, a tablet, an Android tablet, whatever tablet you want to view the screens remotely. You don't need to have a specific Windows device to be able to use to be able to connect to the roaster remotely.
Got it. Okay. And then Tony in Florida wants to know if it can be controlled remotely with his iPhone.
Another good one. Yes, although technically possible, the screen resolution does not automatically scale for mobile devices. So you're going to have to do a lot of scrolling across the screen to see the different information on it. We don't recommend using a phone for this, although it's certainly possible. It was more designed for tablets where you've got a little bit more real estate to be able to see what's going on.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get a call in the middle of trying to control your roaster.
No, yeah.
Probably not. Okay. So next, Hassan has asked, how much is the PX120? That's a great question. And as I mentioned, this roaster is available really at the starting price of what our G120 was available at. Now, it's really hard to answer the question directly, so I'm going to ask you to get in touch with us through, you can send us an inquiry on Facebook, or you can get to us through calling us or sending us an email. The price of this roaster can vary widely depending upon what options you select. It can be recirculating or non-recirculating. It can have a destoner or not have a destoner, various types of pollution control equipment. So you know, it can be quite a variety of price depending upon what you're interested in putting into your facility. So get in touch with us. So we're going to give the next one to you, Lauren. Bobby in Portland has a question about the water quench in the cooling tray. And is water quench automatic or is that manual? And is it an option or is it standard?
Thank you, Bobby. That's a great question. So the quench in the cooling tray is standard. It's a manual quench. We also have the option to make it automatic if you'd like. While we're talking about quench, I just want to add on with the roaster. The roaster comes automatically with a automatic quench in the roaster as well as the manual quench. And we can also add a quench if you'd like to the roaster cyclone or to the catalytic afterburner.
That's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water.
All right. So, another question for Bob. Seems like everybody's interested in those controls.
Popular today.
Are there different control programs for the PX120 like we've offered Raphael in Tampa for his G120, like pro versus standard controls?
So Pilot 2020 is a single version application. So while the program is the same, there are no differences. Depending on what options you have, you will have more abilities with inside the software. But there isn't a different pro versus essential.
Okay. All right. Oh, great. An international question. So Carol in the UK asks, can her PX120 be run on propane as she's in a remote area? Yes, it can. That's just different burners. We can make that change, no problem. Then there's another question here, which is another great one. She asks if, let me read this correctly, as one of our 2021 initiatives, we'd like to become a carbon neutral organization. What are the options for emission control? Okay, so kind of starting at the least environmentally friendly to the most environmentally friendly. We do offer a thermal oxidizer. It's the lowest capital cost, great for destruction of visible emissions and odor. We offer a catalytic oxidizer, which uses significantly less energy and also destroys smoke and odor. We then offer a low temperature catalytic oxidizer, which has higher platinum content and operates at a lower temperature. That also destroys smoke and odor very well. And increasingly, these have less natural gas or propane requirement. And then it's the least fuel consuming option. We would offer a flameless regenerative thermal oxidizer. This is a fairly capital intensive piece of equipment, but it will use less than 10% of the energy of a thermal oxidizer and have very low emissions. Also with the roaster, and this is certainly worth considering, the roaster can be made recirculating, which is about a 30% decrease in energy consumption. And then we also highly recommend the application of insulation on the ductwork and on the cyclone, which can reduce the energy consumption of a recirculating roaster another 10%. So there's a lot of ways that you can make the roaster more energy efficient through the investment in the right technology as well as insulation. Okay, one more question. Joan from Mason, Ohio asks, can the PX120 be connected to Cropster? Bob, I'll let you answer that.
Okay, thank you, Joan. Yes, absolutely the PX120 can be connected to Cropster. If this is something that you're going to want to do, please let us know when you place your order for the roaster so we can ensure that all the right equipment is available for the connection.
Okay. And she also asks, can the PX120 be easily integrated to plant control? She's thinking about updating her green coffee delivery system.
Yes, it's very similar in that regards to our previous roasters, where we have easy communications and connectability to your plant systems.
Awesome. Okay. I think that wraps up our questions. Thank you very much for inviting us onto your desktop or onto your phone today. It's been great talking to you about the Px120. We are excited to have this roaster as a part of our lineup. We're excited to share more information with you. So please reach out to us through our website, through Facebook, through LinkedIn. Give us your name, your email, your telephone number, and we'd be happy to reach out to you and talk to you about a Px120. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Thanks to Ellen, who's off-site. And this is Scott saying goodbye.